You have to be patient and you have to learn to listen. And then as a leader, you need to be able to follow. How can you get anyone to do as you ask them or to assist in whatever area if you're not able to do for yourself what you're asking others to do for you?
There's a lot you can learn from other people's experiences, and there's virtually nothing new under the sun.
To be able to listen and to learn from listening and then being able to take initiative based on what you've learned.
To make a real difference, the work that you have to do has to outlive you and be for the long term.
When you're in a leading position, you need to have values, principles, ideas, be able to transmit them to your team, and then find the practical ways to get them to earth, to be done.
You have to really be in touch with the community, with the grassroots, with the artists and the cultural workers, and in my case, all over the country.
I think the key thing for me is about being positive, finding the true potential of the arts, not worrying and moaning about the problems and challenges.
One of the main things I've learned is just the power of collaboration, both in physical scale of economies and budgets, but also just the goodwill that it brings towards the arts and towards what you're trying to do.
You need to be focused and make the right choices and never be afraid of making those choices.
If you pick an area or stay within an area where you're passionate about, you have all the motivation in the world to lead the people around you or behind you.
One of the things that I've learned in my work that I really think that people should pay attention to is the importance of involving artists in the development and design of government interventions, public sector interventions in supporting the arts.
It's very important never to lose your goal from sight, really to stick to it, to go through all the difficulties and even to risk often your own skin.
I think the word leadership means to embark others on the journey. So I think that invites you to form some views yourself about what the journey is and what it is you want to embark people on. And if you can do that, then that's a good first step.
Funding. Funding for the arts in all aspects of the arts, not just the visual arts, but I'm talking the handicraft associations, we're talking the music and the local school artists. They're up and coming artisans all over the Bahamas, and we would like to see them excel and to show their wares and gears all around the world.
I think the emphasis on culture and development is one of the areas that we can capitalize on.
The interest which has happened in the art and culture is what we want now to capitalize on in terms of funding for the art of culture, in terms of bringing in along the communities, and also getting the corporate institutions to fund art and culture as part of their corporate social responsibility.
Everything else is in recession. I think the arts are still expanding. They're expanding in ideas and influence, and I think we can capitalize on that.
In Tanzania right now, the government is looking for ways to increase employment in the country. And many young people in Tanzania have seen the arts as an alternative to their employment.
Well, in the next 3 years, we're going to face a horrible financial environment and some real questioning about what the role of government is in the United States and whether the arts are included as a core function. So the real opportunity there is to make the case for the arts as a core function of government and to really communicate what the public benefits are.
I think the opportunity we have is that we can make the private sector and the public sector more bound to culture and its outputs for society.
I believe that the Ministry of Culture is at the cusp of taking momentous, substantial decisions in terms of changing its structure, streamlining its functioning, making it more contemporary.
Well, for Creative Scotland, we've got a fantastic new name. It's about making a creative nation, and it's a rallying call really to engage lots of partners, whether it's education, health, justice, the general public, the media, broadcasters. We want everybody to be part of our rallying call about a creative nation.
I've seen how tremendous, how good the work has been for the past 24 years in workshops, in festivals, and the School for Living Traditions. But now I'm challenging them to maybe test the waters and look at the possibility of entering the realm of addressing the cultural dimension of our social ills?
Well, I think it's an opportunity for all New Zealanders really, because we're a young nation and there's a growing excitement about who we are as an independent, distinct country, and the arts have a big part to play in that.
Tourism being such a significant part of our GDP, 65%, but we all know the cultural sector has a great input into that, so we aim to develop that further.
The biggest opportunity for us to capitalize on is for sure an extended legal mission which will come into power from January 2012 on, and the first new task we'll have is developing young talents, and it's something we're really looking forward to.
I think there's really quite a little bit to capitalize on in the broadband and the digital space. New arts practices, new eyeballs, more people who can appreciate the arts, and just really different ways for people to experience the arts.
We can talk, we can share experiences.
Getting in a room with people with the same high level of passion and interest and love for the arts and for the culture. Environment like that, it rubs off on you.
Whether it's aiding artists or arts organizations or community projects, or making partnerships with the business community or the health services community, whatever it is, they need the best ideas in the world, and I get them from Ithaca.
The symbolical value of Ithaca is just to learn or to prove that Europe is not the heart of the world.
Ithaca is about really making the world a little bit smaller.
I'm now able to connect with all my international counterparts and to share views and ideas of how we can make each other's country a whole lot better, particularly in the arts.
It's networking. It's meeting others who do similar jobs, who've got similar problems.
Acorns is a great way that you kind of just skim over things, and you know that if you want to dive into something more deeply, you can send an email and there'll be a responsive person at the other end interested in helping you do a better job, and that's a real comfort.
And it is a shoulder in which you can be able to lean and talk to your fellow peers on what they are experiencing in their own countries.
The value of Ithaca is great for us in the Pacific because we tend to be isolated.
Ithaca provides us, beyond just research from around the world, perspective on where everybody is at a given stage of their life cycle, but also just connections with people which make it really real.
It's one of the few opportunities that I have to actually engage with other people in my position in other parts of the world, but to expand the horizons of what artistic policy and public investment can actually achieve in the world.
I see a lot of opportunity here for us to learn, and Ithaca can become a great platform to tell us and to let us understand the international experience.
Ithaca makes us come together, share experiences, and exchange whatever that we have.
When I see the passion exude from our wonderful artisans, be they visual artists, be they dancers, songwriters, anyone in poetry and drama, it says a whole lot. And to be able to connect with each and every one of them and to have them expand their horizon even more further than what they do just home in the local town, but to have that taken internationally and expose themselves to who they are. So when I get to do a part of all of that, it gets me all excited because I share that passion with each and every one of them.
Well, I'm an artist myself. I'm an actor, I've been a producer. I love the sector, I love artists.
My mother is an artist, and I was always privileged to be surrounded either by artists or able to go see a lot of work.
Working in the field of arts and culture means also working in a field where it's about visions for the whole society, and that is very much needed nowadays.
It's full of possibility. It's about possibility. It's not about negativity. It's about exploring. It's about understanding. It's about knowing who you are as a human.
With such a wealth of inspiration, so much creativity, the power of reflection on what's going on in our world, I think every single day I meet people who just amaze me by how they think.
I have the most transformative life experiences when I'm actually in the theater or reading a novel or in the cinema or walking through an art gallery, and I would really like to share that with as many people as possible.
Doing a project that takes place in every state and engages, after 5 years, 365,000 kids in poetry recitation, you know, and then seeing the final of that, that's pretty motivating.
Well, I'm an artist myself. I run a theatre company, and I've had first-hand experience of artists who live on the fringe.
I myself started as an actor and then director of the National Drama Company of Tanzania.
I think I was born with it. My government sent me to be a doctor because I was good in physics, chemistry and those, but I changed to the arts because when I was in a lecture room, I hear the drums or I hear the song music, I just went out of the room.
There's nothing bigger than working in the art and culture in bringing communities along together, especially in intercultural dialogue and learning more from each other and creating harmony within the society.
The arts make places, the arts define the differences between communities.
It's a privilege to do the job that I do, and in a sense be able to have some impact on, you know, our country, and the arts have a big role to play in that, so I kind of run to work every day. Lucky to do that.
Just recently I viewed an art exhibition, and it was an elderly gentleman who was in his late 70s, and he was showcasing his arts from he was yay high and yay old. And I said to myself, you know, if my mom had kept all of those little drawings and sketches that I did back then, I too would be on display as an artist. So just to see someone so geared up into what they have done over the years and to share that with the general public and the visitors alike who come to our country, and to take pride in all the little intricacies of what he's done, it really says a whole lot. And I really enjoy that.
I just recently read a book by Lynn Hughes. She's an author who wrote a book called Flock, and just the story, the sort of how she put the story together, with the detail inside the book was just so beautiful.
About a month ago, I saw a production of Titus Andronicus at the Stratford Shakespeare Festival in Canada, and everyone talks about Titus as being, you know, a very early Shakespearean play, a vengeance play, very violent play, not particularly sophisticated, very rough. And in this production, I felt totally amazed at how modern it seemed.
I can say one, but in these recent years, I've had more than one, at least.
A memorable experience for me was going to the Melbourne Museum yesterday and seeing the exhibit that was done through Marshall Langton and others on the trading relationship between the Makasan and the Aborigines in Northern Territory.
My theatre company today very recently got into a collaboration with an Australian theatre company, the Brisbane Powerhouse. Andrew Ross. And it was beautiful because today we have a collaboration between my theatre group working with the musicians of the Brisbane Powerhouse, Topology. And that, I think, is a great experience which all of us will carry back.
It was last week I saw a young singer-songwriter called Sam Carter, who had a very small Arts Council award a few years ago and is now going to be a real star, and it was fantastic.
In a workshop recently in Cotabato, down south, we were fortunate to be given a chance to talk to the highest leader of the Moro peoples. And at first we were very afraid because of the ongoing conflict. And it was so interesting to be face to face with this leader.
One of the experiences that I had very recently was a co-production of Tanzanian company with a Swedish company, and they did a play called Antigone.
One of the most memorable arts experiences I've had amongst 260 cultural events in the last year was seeing a group of 170 boys from the west coast of Scotland dancing with Matthew Bourne, one of our professional choreographers, in a show called The Lord of the Flies. And you just couldn't tell the difference really between the professionals and the amateurs, and the smiles on people's faces kind of kept me smiling for months afterwards.
On the trip over from New Zealand in the plane, I watched a documentary which was about Nick Cave's The Ship Song that had been done by Sydney Opera House, and it was it was just profoundly moving. So I shed a little tear on the trip over and was surprised and delighted by how the arts can touch us, even when you go in cattle class from New Zealand to Australia. So that was terrific.
3.5 years ago in my country, Kenya, we had a general election. And in the election, the results were contested. Communities stand against each other. There was a lot of violence. People were displaced from where they were living. That resulted in what we call internally displaced people. And recently, I watched a play by junior, high school on the lives of the people who have been misplaced from, their communities. It was a very, very painful, but that was the reality. It has stayed with me for a long time.